I feel like there's some sort of unspoken kinship there a little bit. I mean, here we are, two guys that were just trying to do the best that we could. And at first, I'm sure the reasons were very selfish. For me, I just wanted to be the best I could be. I wanted to be the best in the world. I wanted to win championship belts. I mean, it was never about money. And I'm sure if you asked Tana, it would be the same answer. He was probably never about money. And you know, we got to a point where then not only it became about championship belts, it became about representing our companies. It became about what is our ideal wrestling style? What does wrestling mean to us? What kind of wrestling message do we want to convey to the world? And when you put it all out there, when you're speaking from the heart, when you're wrestling from the heart, and you're trying to explain like, this is me, this is my message. I lost to Tanahashi. So I didn't lose because I was the worst wrestler. I didn't lose because I was weaker, because I was slower. I didn't lose because I had a worse game plan. I lost because my dreams weren't big enough. I was still too selfish. So now becoming an EVP myself of my own company, I can look back fondly at that time and go, you know what? Had I not learned that lesson back then, had I not learned how valuable it is to speak from the heart, to wrestle from the heart, to tell that message, not only to your opponent, but to the world. You can't do big things. And look where we are now. Who would have thought, you know, two rivals in high-ranking positions of opposing companies coming together to have a clash at the Tokyo Dome. And here we have people making their return to Japan after however many years. We have people making their debuts in Japan. People making their dreams come true. And really doing something that probably no one's seen in a long time. And I couldn't be happier to do it with New Japan. I couldn't be happier to do it with CMLL, and I couldn't be happier to do it, especially with the Joshi from Stardoms as well. So it's really a fantasy situation for me. And I think the catalyst to it all happening, for me anyway, was losing that match. I would never wish it upon anybody else in the world. Trust me, I miss those days of rolling up to an arena with just my carry case, you know what I mean, my little bag that just had my gear in it, and focusing on that match, that one performance. The performance was just about me. And instead, you know, I'm at the arena days before, trying to figure out how are we going to make this work? How do we make this guy's entrance work? How do we make sure that all of the entrance videos are formatted? How do we make sure that, you know, the extras and the talent are fed? How do we make sure that they're healthy? How do we make sure that we keep them healthy? What do we do if something goes wrong? I mean, there's always, it's a balancing act of a million things. And if you're not 100% confident in your wrestling ability, and if you're not completely dedicated and passionate, not only about the success of what you do out there, but the success of the entire company, and maybe even the state of professional wrestling, you can't do it. It's a terrible undertaking. And as much as the Young Bucks have betrayed me as of recently, you know, I couldn't have done it without them. It was really a group effort, but Tanahashi now doing it all by himself with the help of, you know, a lot of talented group of people here. I understand the burden that it weighs on him. And for him to still be an active professional wrestler, for him to still be in any title picture is nothing short of a miracle. And it really allowed for me to step back now that I'm resting from a serious illness. And I'm thinking, man, was it all of this on the same plate? Is that what drove me to being this way? The answer is probably yeah, short answer of that. But I mean, I did it for the state of wrestling, and I did it because I wanted to help people, help fans. I just wanted to help unite people all over the world, lovers of professional wrestling, people that have never watched wrestling and maybe could find a love for it. And you know, did I sacrifice a bit of my physical and mental health for it? Sure, but here I'm still standing. And I think it's much like Tanahashi, it's our passion that fuels us. You know, knowing just sort of the weight that was on my shoulders of being in the position that I was in for that company. Here we had someone that took everything out of me. Everything. It took every ounce of my being to finally defeat for a major belt in this company. And he's coming here 100% with only the wrestling to have to worry about. I looked at that man as a monster. And I can't lie, I was scared. I can't face this guy as current Kenny Omega. So maybe by the Young Bucks putting me out and allowing me to step back and refocus on bringing myself back as the wrestler that I know that I can be, taking the mental burden away of being an EVP just for a little bit to focus on what is it that I have to do to get back to that level. It's, I feel like the ghosts of my past and the skeletons in my closet have all followed me back to this state. And although getting sick in the way that I did set me back almost a year now, it's almost a blessing in disguise, because it really allows you to assess things in a different way, and it allows you to prioritize the things you should be prioritizing. And I feel that when I do come back, I can come back with a clear headspace and possibly be a top flight performer again. I think that the concept of the Forbidden Door now that sort of the door has been booted wide open, it's less of a, the way that I used to picture the Forbidden Door. You picture the cartoony door at the pearly gates, you know what I mean? It's like you need that special permission to open that thing up. Now I just feel like it's a revolving door. But you go out one end and you don't come back the other unless you have that passion. Because now it's opened the talent pool so wide, and it's made our roster so diverse with so many options, that if you aren't a complete athlete, if you aren't a complete wrestler, you just can't hang. So is it special? Maybe it's lost a smidge of specialness by being able to cross over that plane. But it's made the competition that much stiffer, and it's made the competition that much tougher. You can't succeed now unless you're absolutely not only the best in America, but the best in England, the best in Australia, the best in New Zealand, the best in Japan. You have to be one of the world's best athletes to succeed now in today's global wrestling climate. And I think the Forbidden Door helped facilitate that. We've got a lot of unfinished business. I've got unfinished business with the Bucks. I've got unfinished business with Jack Perry. I've got unfinished business with Okada, clearly. But then I look at the studs. You guys got to go over to New Japan. I mean, I mean, Shingo Takagi's always been a fantasy match of mine, dream match. But you know, I'm here now to help cultivate the new talent. And the guys that people tell me are the stars, the guys are the ones that tell me, you gotta watch out for him. Those are the ones I want to test. So I mean, when you got mouthy little shits, you know what I mean, guys like Gabe Kidd, yes. He's a funny guy, and what I like about him is he's super confident. I mean, I saw him on the news, and he had that comment about AEW wrestlers being scared to talk about girls and or talk to girls. Shit, man, I can relate to that. You know what I mean? I'm probably still scared to talk to girls. So he's right. Like, sure, guys like that. I mean, I like that. I like that gusto. I like that attitude, and I sort of miss having that killer instinct myself. So it's like, if guys like that are hungry, and if guys like that think that it's their time to shine, like, it's time to put those guys in the spotlight. Let them step up. Let them take a shot. I want to see what you got. And maybe it's not the time for like a Kenny Omega Gabe Kidd match. You know what I mean? That's probably too quick. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think our fan base really knows him. I don't think, I don't know if anyone cares about him. But that's my job, is to give these guys a hard introduction. Like, maybe you should be watching these guys. And those are the kind of talents that I'm interested in. Because I mean, if it weren't for me, maybe you wouldn't know about a guy in AEW like Will Ospreay, and look at his meteoric rise. He's arguably the guy right now in our company. You know, you look at Jay White. And if it weren't for Jay White deciding to take fate into his own hands and become the character that he is now, the person that he is now, we wouldn't know him on a global level. And people are talking about him like he's one of the best. And he is, absolutely is one of the best. So You know, show me the young talent. What's the other guy? Callum. Yeah, super fast guy, right? I mean, this guy looks like he could freaking win the 100-meter dash at the Olympics, for Christ's sakes. These kinds of athletes, this is the type of pro wrestling that I want to see. I want to be introduced to guys like this. So, guys like Gabe, guys like Callum, you know what I mean? And geez, Canare, when I used to travel up and down, geez, he was just a guy that just wanted to learn. He wanted to absorb knowledge. He wanted to test himself. He trained harder than anybody else, while still doing everyone's laundry, while still doing, while still making the Chenko, while still doing multiple workouts a day. And look at him now. He's one of the strongest, toughest performers that you guys have over in New Japan. I mean, these are the guys. And again, let's give a big congratulations out to Zack Sabre Jr., the second foreigner to ever win a G1. Like, big things are happening over in this company. And if people don't know about it, I want people to know about it. So I think that the Forbidden Door, or whatever it is you'd like to call it, I think it's just a great chance not only for the guys that are making waves over here in Japan to get noticed in America, but also, guys over where we are in America to get noticed over here. We've got up-and-coming young talents too that could probably do some big things over in New Japan. And I love that there's the opportunity now for that talent exchange and for these guys to mix it up in the ring, to test each other. So if I can be that guy to provide that test, great. If I can't be, that's great too, because we've got a list of guys, hundreds of guys, chomping at the bit to get in the ring and try to better themselves and see if the talent opposite from them in the ring, it can measure up.